Ladies and gentlemen, it is Esch and Akins once again. Guys, today we're going to reminisce a little bit on our previous employment, where we met each other at in the field of corrections.
Yes. As many of you know, and if you don't, we're going to tell you about it. There was a situation in Florence, Alabama, where a senior corrections officer, a female by the name of Vicky White.
Not just a senior corrections officer, Jason, the assistant director.
She was right under the boss. She was high ranking. And she is on the lam right now with a murderer.
Capital murderer.
Capital murderer, a very dangerous man.
Already serving 75 years in prison, awaiting trial on 2 capital murder cases.
Chances are he's not going to see the end of that sentence.
No, absolutely not.
No. So, but with the background we have, we are uniquely qualified to talk about this, brother.
I feel like we can give professional opinions.
I do too. I
feel like we're professionals in this field. I done 12 years. You done about that.
About close to 10.
Yeah, I mean, so we have a professional background in this.
You were a lieutenant. I was a sergeant.
Where we can share very direct information about this.
Oh yeah, and just kind of give you a window into that world.
So Jason, how should we start this? Let's go ahead and let's put their names out there. So the escaped male, the inmate, Casey White.
Yes, Casey White,
and the former assistant director.
Yeah, she's not going back.
Her name is Vicky White.
Yes, no relation.
No relation at all. Just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence. A series of coincidences.
It's been 8 days now, Jason. So the premise of what happened, guys, this it's kind of a routine thing, I guess. This assistant director says this inmate has a mental evaluation at the courthouse today. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I know that we're supposed to have 2 officer transporting, but I'm the assistant director. I'm gonna take you myself. And afterwards, I've got a doctor's appointment because I'm not feeling well.
Right.
And to start with, we don't see the video of her loading him into the transport. They've released video now of her loading him into the transport vehicle in the sally port.
Now we see it in the sally port.
And they take off. Mm-hmm.
It all looks very normal. He's in cuffs. He's placed in the back of the vehicle. The only thing that is not normal, and Mr. Esch will agree with me, is that there's two rules that are broken. Number one, you never send just one officer with someone who's been convicted of violent crime like that.
Absolutely. And that was a rule we had.
That's a rule we had. And number 2 was you would never send a female officer.
Absolutely not. One other mistake I saw, Jason, and this could be the control room operator's fault. When she's taking him out of the jail into the sally port, both doors to the sally port are wide open.
I know that was I noticed there seemed like there was a lot of sunlight coming in.
A lot of sunlight. The doors were open.
Oh, well, that was a no because somebody could just take off.
Just run.
Yeah.
Or another inmate in the booking area could have just bolted out the door and boom.
Yeah.
Because even when she went in after she pulled her vehicle in the video, she left the booking door propped open.
Oh, that's right. I've noticed that. And that's a big no-no.
Little things that you still notice.
Little things
even after you're out of the profession.
Yeah. I remember many times you and me both telling people, hey, close that door. Hey, close that door.
Right. I'm not opening this one till you close that one.
Yeah, secure it.
Absolutely. So the premise was he was going to a mental evaluation.
Okay.
Well, the day goes on, and her officers have called to check on her because they're under the impression she's taking him to a mental evaluation, drop him off with court personnel, I guess.
I guess that's the thing. She was going to take him and drop him off and take off to her doctor's appointment.
So her phone goes straight to voicemail. Finally, later in the evening, they contact the director of corrections at it was Lauderdale County. And come to find out, there was no mental evaluation scheduled for him. Nothing for him that day.
No one knew what they were talking about.
Not a thing. So then, more news starts breaking.
Yeah. We find out that there's something going on. And at the time, no one was sure as to whether she had been kidnapped, she was a hostage, what could be taking place here. And this guy's 6'9", 340 pounds. and he is not a nice fella.
No, I mean, as we've said, capital murder.
Yeah, that's capital.
That is the commission of a crime while committing another crime.
Yes, and it's not something that happens in the heat of the moment. It's something you make a decision to kill someone. It's planned and known. And he had done state time at a level 6 max security prison in this state, Donaldson, and she would. Well, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. Trying to lay it out for y'all here. So finally, the news breaks on it. It makes public news, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody's thinking this corrections officer has been kidnapped.
Oh yeah.
Poor Vicky White. She just
White.
filed for retirement. This was her last day on the job.
What luck.
She had sold her house. She had plans to move to the beach. Poor her,
Oh yeah.
And I saw it too. I was, reading Facebook. Even our local corrections officers that are still working for the county where we worked. Oh, poor her. We got to give her the benefit of the doubt.
It's all pray. It's all pray. Thoughts and prayers.
It looked so suspicious to me from the get.
It did me too.
And it's hard to think that way of a corrections officer when we worked with a bunch of great ones.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to feel that way toward one because you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Surely they wouldn't go there.
Surely, but you know yourself, and you know it to your bone. When you see those things taking place, like, wait a second, why was she taking him by herself, this capital murderer? Mm-hmm. Okay. That sets off an alarm for both of us.
Absolutely. So, man, it's been 8 days now, and a lot of news has come out. There's so much, Jason, I'm not even sure where to start. But the timeline, so now we've discovered that she was involved in this. She was involved in the prison escape.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about it at this point.
They've been planning it for a while.
Come to find out, they've had a romantic relationship going on 2 years.
Yes.
She was visiting him at state prison.
Yes.
I'm not sure if she's using her real name. I did see a report where she had some aliases.
No way.
She may have been there, but man, she had to have been using her real name.
You would think they would check. They would check it out.
Check her ID.
Yeah.
Come in to visit an inmate at a maximum security prison.
Yeah. They're gonna check. You would think they're gonna check it, but it may have been, hey, I'm the assistant director at Lauderdale County.
Yeah.
I'm checking. This is why I'm checking on this guy. I don't know, and Donaldson is, like so many of our prisons, just woefully understaffed.
Yes.
I mean, it's at a crisis point in this state. The feds have threatened to come in and take over. And so they may, it may be just a thing where they just didn't have enough people that day. They're like, okay, that's fine, come on.
Absolutely. The story is so wide, guys. She had sold her house, has cash, I'm assuming.
Yeah, cash on hand.
She filed for retirement. The Friday of the escape was to be her last day on the job. Now they have found records indicating that she has bought firearms, AR-15s, shotguns. Mm-hmm. She also had her service weapon on her.
So they're armed.
They're armed. She bought a getaway car.
No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, she had a getaway car stashed at another location. They found the sheriff's department transport vehicle in the parking lot.
Well,
some other fella that took pictures of the car because he thought it might have been somebody was selling.
Yeah,
didn't have a tag on it. She bought a 2007 Ford Edge, burnt orange, kind of a rust color.
Yeah,
that's the getaway vehicle. So they've either ditched that by now because it's made public. It wasn't supposed to have been released yet.
Right.
The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department, from my understanding, made a mistake and released the information from the U.S. Marshals to the public.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's understandable. They're trying to locate a criminal.
Exactly. They're trying to find what the heck happened and make sure that she's safe as well.
Right. And even though she is a part of this, guys, it does not mean that she is safe. This is a very, very violent individual that she is with. Regardless of a 2-year relationship, I think in his mind, and I might be getting ahead of myself, but she's got a load of cash. I don't know what her profit was from the sale of her house. I know they said $95,000.
$95,000.
But how?
I'm afraid knowing how manipulative some of these guys can be, she's a means to an end.
Means to an end.
And I fear they'll find her somewhere, and he'll be somewhere else.
Absolutely. Because she's bought weapons for him. She's got cash. Mm-hmm. My thing is, they had about 6 hours. Which direction are they going?
That's a good question. Who knows?
An inmate facing the death penalty.
Yeah. I mean, what's he got to lose?
Right. Did they go south toward Florida like she wanted to do? Did they throw authorities off and go north?
Could have.
Did they immediately leave there and head toward the Mexican border?
Or did they head toward an airport?
He can't get on a plane, though.
Well, that's true. That's true. He can't get on a plane.
Right. Can't get on a plane.
Unless they have some kind of falsified ID.
Yeah, but that stuff, that's highly monitored.
It is. You got Homeland Security there now.
Yeah.
And,
My thing is, if they were going...
They'll take an x-ray of you and look at everything you got going on.
Right. They can't get into Mexico. Not legally.
No, not legally.
She has been preparing this for some time, apparently. What if she hired a coyote instead of sneaking out of Mexico into the United States?
That's possible.
Taking them from the United States into Mexico.
That's possible, or something to consider. It would be a much, much longer drive, but our Canadian border is very unguarded.
It's a very weak border.
It's a very weak border.
Well, I mean, they say terrorists come into the U.S. through Canada all the time.
Oh yeah, our border with Mexico is much more monitored than the one with Canada.
Absolutely, and it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Borders should be secured no matter what border they are.
Exactly.
I understand the Canadian people are friendly and they're good, but what other people are coming through their borders?
Not everybody's good, are they?
Right, not everybody's good.
No.
But this is just it's a unique case, and I'm surprised the marshals, with the vast resources they haven't at least got a good tip.
I know. You would think this guy, it's going to be kind of hard for him to fly under the radar.
Right.
And her face has been all over the news.
Her face, his face.
Yes.
Sure, there's not a lot of changes he can make, so I've got different pictures of him with hair, without hair.
Right.
Beard, no beard. So I think he's easily identifiable.
Right.
Her, on the other hand, she could change the color of her hair, have makeup on.
She could.
Whatever have you. She could disguise herself a little easier than he could.
She could cut her hair.
And he's a behemoth of a man.
Oh, yeah. Huge guy.
But, I mean, it's one of those situations where the sheriff and all them couldn't see it coming.
It's kind of funny now. They have all these jailhouse and prison snitches telling them, well, it's been going on now for about 2 years.
Right.
They had no intelligence. They had no idea. You got to wonder, though, surely somebody she works with, somebody would have known something or would have warned her, hey, because we had officers that we worked with that got too close to inmates, and we would be like, hey, watch out.
Yep.
Watch out.
Well, and then, it's come out from them jailhouse snitches that he was getting preferred treatment, he was getting extra food trays.
And in a jail or prison setting, that's a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just overlooked. Maybe it obviously was overlooked.
Obviously. And being the assistant director, who wants to question her?
I wouldn't question my director or my administrator.
No, man, that could be your job.
Absolutely. I mean, she could have made life hell on you.
Absolutely. Yes.
And from my understanding, reading reports and articles, and she was beloved by her officers.
Yeah.
She was held in high regard. Corrections Officer of the Year.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable.
This reminds me of a case back in 1998. I've got a little story to tell you. There was a guy, Mario Santobi, and before he was a cop killer, I'm not sure, I think he was a rescue diver.
Wow.
In fact, in the years before his criminal enterprises, there was a train derailment somewhere, I'm going to say in Mobile or somewhere like that, and he was diving, trying to rescue people, trying to find people. Kind of well thought of. Well, I don't know what happened in Mario Santobi's life. I've forgotten by now. But I know he shot and killed a Moody police officer.
I remember.
Well, he goes to jail, and he kind of manipulates and sweet talks a female officer. Sound familiar? And next thing you know, he's on the lam. And I remember I had gone on a trip with some buddies of mine, and we'd gone out of state, and we were coming back, and it was on, I want to say 2059. And I have never in my life to this day seen that many police officers, police officer vehicles, helicopter. I've never seen that kind of presence. Guys with machine guns. I was like, oh my God. They were looking for Sintobi. They were looking for him. And eventually he was captured, went to Donaldson, got the death penalty. He petitioned the state to have his execution sped up. And according to our former director, Trent McCluskey, who worked at Donaldson and dealt with Mario Sintobi, he was one of the meanest inmates he'd ever dealt with.
Wow.
He said the guy was no good. Just
Psychopath.
Psychopath, just evil.
Natural born killer.
Yeah, natural born killer. Something happened and it triggered it. So, we've had this, and people still remember that name and what happened. I think she got sentenced to 10 years. But we've seen this in this state before.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like a modern day Bonnie and Clyde situation.
Yeah.
I feel like. They've not made, like I said, we're 8 days into to them going missing. They've not made any mistakes yet. For all we know, they've made it across a border somewhere in another country. Surely, still though, Mexico's a extradition country. They're not a non-extradition country.
That's right.
Mexico will extradite. Canada will extradite.
That's right.
They've not, unless they got on a cruise ship and they're on a small island somewhere, they're still in the U.S.
You would think, yeah. And my feeling is they are. They're somewhere hiding out and, trying to map out, okay, our plan has worked to this point. Let's adjust to what's going on and figure out the best route. My concern is when they do find them, as heavily armed as they are, and with this guy's background, it could be a deadly situation.
Absolutely. They're obviously not in the business to kill themselves because they went through a lot of trouble to get away.
Yeah, went to a lot of trouble to get away.
Like we were saying, one of my concerns is she got all this money. She got these guns. He don't need her anymore.
That's what I'm saying, man. And these guys, man, they will... And not everybody. We're not trying to say that everybody that's in jail or prison is a manipulator. We're not saying that. But some of those guys are. They're sociopaths. They're psychopaths. And they are good. And they've got all day to think about this and hone in on who they think they can get something out of.
That's exactly right.
And we saw it time and time again. If with certain inmates... If you were not careful, they would just keep going and keep going and keep. I'll tell you my own little escape story. When I first started with you, and we were both on first shift, both part-time officers. I'll never forget this guy came up to me, and he seemed totally stable. He was asking to be a trustee. I said, well, okay, I'll talk to the director. Well, I talked to our director, and I recommended him for trustee. Well, my off days came up, and I was at home, and I got a call from our director. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm sitting here at the house watching TV. What are you doing? He said, I'm looking for this trustee. I said, what do you mean looking for him? He fled. I said, you telling me the trustee that I recommended fled? He said, yeah. I said, that's not good. He said, no. He said he went to the car wash, and he had somebody waiting on him. He took off the inmate uniform, left it at the car wash, got in the vehicle, and he's gone.
I remember that.
You remember that? He and this I guess it was his girlfriend, then proceeded to go on a 3-state crime spree, robbing convenience stores and whatnot, went through Georgia, ended up in Florida, ended up in a standoff with the police in Florida. I'm not sure which jurisdiction. He took his young son hostage. And that did not go well for him. They said he shot himself. I'm not sure if he shot himself or if the police took him out. But that was an eye opener for me. How easily fooled you can be.
That's It's that simple, man. And
It's that simple. But with her experience level, she should have not been that easily fooled. I think she got bit by the love bug.
I think so too. She was an older woman. She had never been married. She didn't have any kids. She had sold her house, living with her mom.
She's like, why
but
not?
I think that was in preparation for the escape because
Yeah.
that just happened 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that was in preparation for the escape.
Oh yeah.
They could be holed up in a cabin in Tennessee somewhere, and nobody is none the wiser to it.
There are so many hiding places, and you think with today's technology and the cameras that are all around, you think, well, no, that just can't happen. Let me tell you, if an airliner full of 350 people can disappear and we still can't find it, 2 people can go missing in this country.
Absolutely. Now, wrap your mind around this, Jason. What if they never left Lauderdale County?
You know what? That might be the smart move, because
Hey, we're going to stay right here under your noses.
under your noses, we've got safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
We've got people we have paid to help us.
Yep.
And once you're headed one way, we're going the other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
And but surely, I mean, there's some very intelligent people that work for the United States Marshal Service, and I'm not taking any credit away from the Lauderdale Police Department.
Oh, no,
the Sheriff's
man.
Department.
Yeah.
Very intelligent people that work for the Marshal Service. That's what they live and breathe for.
Yes, I mean,
Situations like this is what they live and breathe for.
oh yeah, that's they're in the hot zone now. They're in the action.
I don't know how long it will take to find these people. Honestly, I'm surprised it's took this long.
I am too. I'll tell you, they've done a good job of it.
They have not made any mistakes yet.
No.
Now, mistakes can be made. They're humans.
They're humans, and at some point, something's going to give.
Somebody will see them.
Yep.
Somebody will report it, and somebody will get caught. Yeah. Surely by now, though, they're watching these reports that are coming online. They're reading everything about them, being on the loose.
Yeah.
They've probably ditched that car by now.
You would think they'd have to.
I would assume they've ditched
and
it.
probably using burner phones.
Sure. Absolutely.
They're not going to keep your iPhone with you that can be tracked.
I mean, what I would do, I would be going to every Walmart within a 600-mile radius and pulling their facial, recognition video because they have it.
Yeah, they got it.
Seeing they came in.
They've had to stop somewhere. They got to eat. They got to get gas.
Yeah, and he's been locked up for some time.
Yeah,
he's gonna be thinking, man, I'd really like to sit down at a restaurant and eat.
Yeah,
or
check out the free world.
Let's roll through McDonald's or Burger King or whatever have you. Or they might be so hell bent on staying under the radar. She had so many supplies built up that they ain't got to do all that.
If that's the case, that is some very serious self-discipline.
Absolutely. It would have to come down to very strong self-discipline because I'm going to be honest, if I'd been locked up for several years and I'm out, I'm going to want a steak at a restaurant.
Drink a cold beer.
Something of that nature.
Yeah. And something else about this that, I've considered, how many years of service does she have? 20, 25?
I want to say 17 with that department. 22, 25 years total.
Something like that. I always had a big concern that it grew over the years of something that is very, very, very neglected for all officers, whether they be street guys, investigators, or corrections officers, and that's mental health. Mm-hmm. It's very neglected. If you are a corrections officer, you don't bring it up because they're going to say, well, we need to send you home. I don't want to bring this up, look like the guy who's having a crisis. You just got to wonder, everybody's different, but with that many years in corrections, and yourself the kind of toll it takes on you, if that makes someone more apt to make this kind of an epic decision, an epic mistake in my opinion, and yours I'm sure, but did her years there change her outlook on the world, change her decision making, because you have people like, we never thought this would have happened. But I'm going to tell you, man, when people are at a breaking point of some kind, next thing you know, they're doing stuff you would have never imagined.
And it does change you as a person. I mean, I'm a testament to that.
Yeah.
That line of work turned me into an asshole.
We were both much darker people.
Yeah, I mean, that line of work takes a toll on you, takes a toll on your life.
It does.
Jason, when I left the sheriff's department, it took me 6 months to a year to really
Took me about 2 years.
get my life back.
You almost feel like you're detoxing.
Absolutely.
I mean, because when you go there, I don't care if it's the county jail, the prison, or whatever, you are in the epicenter for that area for negative energy.
Yeah.
And just the worst kind of human emotions. And to navigate that and to keep yourself from making a mistake, to keep people safe, because you have responsibility for usually hundreds of inmates and there's not enough of you to go around.
Right.
You're exhausted. Never, ever appreciated. Never appreciated. I don't care if you're in the jail or the prison, you're never appreciated. That takes a toll. The deaths, the violence, you see, you would have to be an android for it not to affect you. My wife has told me you were a different person when you were working there, and I don't care. She said, I don't care if I have to work 3 jobs, you'll never go back.
Yeah, I mean, that's, when I left Jason, I ended up going back for about a month. I don't even think it was a month.
It wasn't even a month.
It wasn't even a month, and I said, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, once you get it out of your system, you're like, who is that guy?
I was just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, it's like when you leave, it's a relief. I mean, and we both believed in what we were doing.
Absolutely.
We loved what we were doing. We tried to be professionals and be good. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you, man, when I left, for me, it was a relief. And when I drive by and I look at that front door,
buddy, I avoid going downtown. I don't even like driving by the place.
I don't blame you. It's like you almost feel, because remember how when you would walk in feeling good, and as soon as you got in there, you felt like you had the flu. Yeah, all your energy zapped out of you. The noise, the confusion, the overworked, knowing you're going to be overworked, knowing you're going to
be short-staffed.
Knowing you're going to be short-staffed every time. That and folks, we're not just complaining; we're trying to keep it real for you. If you know anybody that's in corrections, man, support them and be there for them.
Hold them tight, guys. That is a rough business.
It is, and you're underpaid. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, underpaid. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Vicky White was probably only making $50,000 a year.
If that. I would be shocked. Now, being where she was, it's a little bit more populated. They've got probably more money.
She could have been making more than 50. Being
she
assistant
could have
director,
been in that many years, but I doubt it. There are a lot of guys working at county jails. I say guys, I use that liberally, men and women, who are making anywhere from $10 to $12 an hour.
That's it.
And they got folks' lives in their hands.
Yep.
And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I know there are cops on the street that are making that, but I'm going to tell you, I talked to a lot of cops on the street, and so did you, a lot of deputies, and they were like, "There's no way I would do what you do."
Well, I still consider most of them friends.
Yeah, they're once you work in law enforcement, it's family.
And wrap your mind around this: all these people that Vicky White has worked with through these years, that she probably called friend.
Yeah, brother. Sister.
Probably went to dinner with, hung out with, spent time with.
People that you would go into a life and death situation.
Any given day.
And I'm going to tell you that creates a certain kind of bond.
It does. So how are they feeling right now? I mean, I can only imagine, Jason.
I think they're shocked, disheartened. Yeah. And then probably some of them are thinking, there's a job opening. I can be the assistant director.
I'm the new assistant. I can be the new assistant. You got lieutenants chomping at the bit right now.
That's right, man. They're all fighting over that promotion.
Right.
Yeah, we know what it's like when blood's in the water.
That's it. I remember those days.
Yeah.
But man, I hate the whole situation, but I guess you're human. It don't matter what kind of position you're in, whether you be a part-time store clerk or a assistant director at a sheriff's facility department, life can really take you down a dark path sometimes.
It can, and you stuff that don't ever say, "Oh, I would never," because you're one mistake away from being the worst person in the world.
Absolutely,
Just one mistake.
But how did 2 years? How did nobody see it? They've talked to her mom. Her mom had no idea about this fella,
Dude.
or she's not saying she did.
She must be good.
And as far as his mom's concerned, she knew that he had a pen pal,
Yeah.
but how much did she know?
I mean, you would think they would confide in somebody. That's a heavy thing to keep on your mind and not share with anyone.
I agree 100% with that, but you're going to tell somebody.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to tell somebody. So
How lonely is it sitting in a prison cell and you've got a cellmate? You're telling them something, but they're a criminal just like you.
That's right.
Unless they see a benefit to telling your story to somebody else, they're not going to tell it.
They're not going to tell. All these inmates that are coming forward now didn't tell it.
No, they waited till now.
They waited till now.
They're thinking they're going to get some kind of special treatment for giving up some information.
That's right. I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to help me.
And how much of that information is accurate?
There you go. Now that's
How many
another
times
thing.
did we talk to inmates and they would tell us a story and it was very believable?
It's very believable.
I mean, you're like, God, they're
Man,
But-
I have been fooled by the best and the worst.
absolutely.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, I have sat in there with our old sergeant Calloway, who was like something off a TV show, and he would get fooled.
Absolutely.
Because, and I think it's just our human nature. We want to believe the best. We
That's-
want to believe someone's not lying to us.
That is no doubt, brother.
Yeah.
I want to see this come to an end soon because I know that it's going to turn into an eventual shootout with the police.
That's my biggest
Because that's
concern.
what's going to happen. They're going to get cornered somewhere.
Yes.
We've seen it before. This has happened before.
This has happened before, and you got a guy, hey, I'm going to die anyway. I've got all these weapons. You know what?
Even
Let's
if
go. Take a crack at it.
if he don't get life in prison, if he don't get the death sentence, he's got life in prison.
Yeah,
he ain't getting out on parole.
No, he's not getting. This is it for him.
That's
This is his. Now we may be shocked, and he may turn himself in peacefully. You never. I mean, I've been shocked before, but I don't believe that's. I think you're right. I think it's going to be something that's a very bad situation.
It's going to be a terrible situation, Jason.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, it'll either be a shootout with police, or she will decide that if she's still alive at this point.
If she's
'Cause
still-
no, we don't know.
She may have decided. You know what? I have really screwed up.
I've really screwed up,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna turn myself in. And oh no, you're not.
Oh no, you're not. Oh no, you're not.
Right.
So
And I thought at one point, what if she is retiring, she's seen all this crazy shit for 20, 25 years. I'm going to help this inmate escape,
Yeah.
and I'm going to kill him.
Well, you never know. You have. That's the thing about it, man. Yeah. You see people who do stuff like that. You have friends. Friends that commit suicide or end up doing something that you would never thought. And you're like, I never saw it coming, man. You question, can you really know the mind of anyone else?
Oh, you can't. That's the thing.
You can't even know your own mind.
And I do want to say this for our listeners. I mean, I understand, I've got this idea in my head. If I saw him, I would try to apprehend him. That's a $15,000 reward. It's not a lot of money, but that's
man.
it's some money,
It's a little bit of cash.
Don't try to apprehend these two. If you do see them, call 911. Call the U.S. Marshals communication line.
Call the tip line. Call your local police department because I don't think that guy would hesitate to take anybody out.
Absolutely not. And I know that's $15,000 to some. That's a lot of money, but we've got a murderer on the loose, a known murderer.
Going to be kind of hard to spend it when you're going on to your great reward.
Right, when you're 6 feet under.
That's right.
So
that'll be somebody else's money.
And I'm sure, Jason, we will
Pay for your funeral.
We will do some follow-up episodes on this.
Yes, I think we definitely need to.
It's there's so much new information coming out every day.
Yeah.
The first 5 days we had no idea they were in a 2-year-long relationship until about a day and a half ago.
Didn't know any of this about her other financial transactions or any of it.
Well, a lot of information's come to light now, and for days to come, I mean, until they're caught, and even after that, you're gonna have information coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait until they catch them and we get to hear their story.
You know, if this was years ago, we would have said this is going to be a movie of the week. They don't do movie of the week anymore.
No.
But this would have been a movie of the week.
Oh, this will make a movie script one day. I mean, this is
No doubt.
It was a well-devised plan, well thought out, well put together. And who's to say they didn't buy one escape vehicle and they had another escape vehicle sitting somewhere else?
You would think with him and his background and her background, they would try to prepare for every eventuality.
Absolutely.
Every problem.
They've had plenty of time to plan it.
Plenty of time.
And I mean, he's got charges in other states. He's got charges in Tennessee. The sheriff there, I mean, he come out and said this is a very, very violent man.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe they took a boat. Somebody
Yeah, who's to
thought
say
of
they
it.
didn't hop on a boat?
Yeah. You know, Lauderdale County, that's where Florence is.
Yeah.
That's you got the Tennessee River. You got access. Eventually, they could access a larger waterway.
Yep. Well, Jason, we will call a close to it for the night on this episode. Guys, keep an eye out for more follow-up episodes on this. We may just sneak it into another regular show instead of doing a follow-up show on it.
Yeah.
But I think we've laid out all the information that we've seen. I contemplated a couple days ago calling the sheriff of Lauderdale County and trying to get an interview. He's got bigger fish to fry right now. We worked in the field, so I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
He's going through a lot right now.
I think eventually we need to try to make that happen.
I think so.
Do a
or
recap.
the director of corrections at the facility.
Yes. Yes.
And I had a crazy idea in my head when they catch these fools. What kind of credentials do we need to get to interview them?
That's a good question.
I mean,
That's a good question.
I think that would be an excellent interview.
I do too.
But right now, you've got CNN, Fox News, everybody all over it. So we're the little guys in the room.
Oh yeah, we're the little guys in the room. The little guys with the big heart. And you know, if there's any way to get this, we're gonna get it.
Absolutely.
News station alert.
Like I said, guys, keep your eyes out. If you can put a tip in that locates these individuals, you get a nice little cash reward coming to you.
And do it from a safe distance.
Safe
folks.
distance. Because honestly, if he sees you making a phone call and looking at him, you probably ain't gonna make it to the reward.
No, that'll be posthumously given
maybe
out.
your family will get it.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll see y'all next time. We've got a Nerd News episode coming at you next. So keep a lookout.
All right. Adios.